Hello and welcome to Talk with Jay. It's all about inspiring stories. We keep saying that everyone is important, everyone has a story to tell, and everyone's story is very important. Everyone, including you who is watching, is important. And all the guests that we bring, including the host, all of us are important. This is part 2 of my conversation with Brian Singora, and we're going to continue with where we left, man. Brian, so good to have you on the show, man. Thanks for making time to come to the show. Yeah, so when we went for a break, on the different set, we were at the point where you were arrested, went to Mosocho Academy in Kisii, in the village. You were at Musa Gitau, you were at Sunshine, you had lived in Catholic University, you lived in Buru, lived in South Sea. Yeah. Lived in South B, like many different places. Yeah. But then now, you are trying out life. Yeah. You say you took a 7-year break.
7-year break. Uh-huh. In fact, I was telling my wife the other day that it's like life I live in. Every 7 years, I have a different phase I'm going through. Yeah, and right now I'm also on a new phase. So after my 5th cycle, mathematicians can add that up. So I come from a family of dreamers. My mom always says, you people are dreamers. And so there's a time my younger brother had a dream. And then he went and watched TBN. That time TBN was in the country. Yeah. And he saw this guy who had written a book, 21 Days in Hell. And this guy, in his testimony, was saying the way hell is a dungeon, but it was built for spirits, not for humans. And so when humans are in that place, then they are raped and they are tormented by those things, and there's a lot of screaming and wailing. Yeah. And then there's a stench from the burning that's happening somewhere along the line. Mm. So one day I come home from misbehavior, and my younger bro is there telling me, hey, Brian, this is what I watched. Hey, this is what the Holy Spirit is saying. And I'm like, sour. A few days later, I used to play soccer. We had a soccer team in the hood called Blaze FC. Yeah. And we were playing for Kenya Literature Bureau then. And so we had a trip in Narok. We were playing versus Narok Police. Mm-hmm. And when we went there, we came back. We said, it's night, let's not go home, let's go out and party. So in that partying mode, we were walking along Moy Avenue. And then we stopped by an ATM. Not because we were taking out money, but because we were tired. And around ATMs, there's light and there's security. And those days, Nairobi wasn't what it is. Yeah. And so we chilled there for a bit, and then we said, okay, now let's hit the spot. So as we started walking to the spot, cop cars came from nowhere or from somewhere. And they chased us down. And before we knew it, we were too drunk to run. We were too tired from traveling and playing the same day. And we were not clean, because we hadn't gone home yet. So we looked a bit shabby and shifty. So the cops came down on us. They hit us with their gun butts on the floor. And then they put us in the Mariam. Yeah. And then they poured all the alcohol we had on us. And so now we were stinking. And then they found us with other things. And then they took us to Central Police. Okay. And there we stayed for about 3 days. Wow. Yeah, I came out the next day, but my friends came out the following day after 2 days, and the other ones came out on the 3rd day. Yeah. But the real encounter was not that, because that's just most people or many young people go through that encounter with the cops. But when I was there, all I could think about is, this is exactly what my bro told me. We were put in the last cell near the toilet. If you've ever watched Nairobi Half-Life, you've seen how that place is dirty. Yeah. So the stench. And then we got into the cell like this, and that cell was empty, but it was empty but for one person who was lying there, who I think had just come from mob justice, because his head was swollen, full of blood, and you know the way you swell like this.
Yeah.
And it was crazy, and so we went and we stayed at the corner. Time is not moving, so I'm just remembering. Hey, my bro told me this is happening. So I'm waiting. Then because it's central, they put the girls they catch, or the ladies or the women, in one cell, and then all the cells are left for men. But at a particular hour, guys came and knocked our cell, ejected us, took the mom. The mom is in there. And then we came back in, and they'd obviously done bad manners. And so I'm remembering, my bro told me there's rape, there's a stench, there's fighting, there's torment. When the cops were bringing food, guys were fighting constantly. So me, my entire experience, I was living the dream, my bro. So I just knew this is God calling me back. So when we came out, I felt, oh, I'm free. Because when you're in there, this time does not move.
Yeah.
You can see the sun shine and go, but time is not moving.
Yeah.
So when I came out, I said I'm free, but the things that made me free, made me bound. I'm not free of those. I might be free of the bondage, but not free of the things that caused me to be bound.
Yeah.
So I went, my mom was there, she was scolding me, my uncle, my older bro. I wasn't listening to none of what they're saying. What I was waiting for, where is my bro? I tell him this thing, but I tell him it's real.
Yeah.
So when you go to home, I told him, hey, this thing is real. Went to bed. Then I prayed. I just said, God, I know where you are. And I know you're my father and you are in heaven. And I know your son is for me. So I'll give you my life.
Yeah.
Take these things away from me. Drugs and alcohol, sex, violence and fits of rage. I used to be a boxer then also as I played rugby, so I had a lot of anger. We used to fight in the club every Friday, every Saturday. Used to train so we go to the club to fight. So there's a lot of anger and rage. So I said, no, I know my father, from whom I get my identity. So I prayed. And the moment I said amen, I was free. Then free. So now I remember there used to be a saved guy in campus, in my class. One of my good friends called Mike. We used to call him Mike Favor. So I just couldn't wait to go back to Campo. So I went and I found him and I told him, hey Mike, here, come we go. I need you to pray for me. Me, I've gotten saved. But I want you to pray for me as a witness. So the moment the guy prayed for me, the burdens, I felt now even freer.
Wow.
Because when 2 or 3 agree under any matter, for any matter under heaven, it's established. Verily. So he prayed and it was established. And from that day, I never had any withdrawals from anything. I stopped drinking, I stopped everything. I remember I went back to the hood and I told the homies, hey, this is what's happened. They were like,
What did you tell them?
I just told them, hey, mean more coke. They said, hey, 2 days. In fact, one of my good friends, he said, Wacha, Johnny comes, when the sky falls, when the darkness falls, we change. I said, nah, me, I'm saved. And I remained saved. And that's just how it was. And my life totally changed. I never moved out of the hood. I never changed the homies. Still my homies today. But God just knows how he separates you. And so we remained and my life just started changing. And that's when I started refocusing on my academics. And eventually that's when I got saved, because I had the love of music. And remember, I told you that I learned this music from a Rasta guy. But when I got saved, I had in my heart the Lord telling me, go to this church called ICC. And there's a pastor there, a worship pastor. And go and serve under him, under the music department. So I went there. And he was eventually my best man at my wedding, and we've been friends to this day, family friends, very good. So the Lord brought me to a new musical instructor, and I served ICC until about 2012. I served there for quite a number of years. Me and my bro were in the worship team. It's there that we then met Jack and Joyce Odongo, and we also started serving with the House of Tefillah in ministry. It's there that we joined Life Ministry by way of doing cross-border missions to Ivory Coast. It's there that I started supporting Afleo by participating in supporting with the audiovisual. Did that all the way till Rwanda also. So every time I started traveling abroad, was never because of my competencies or my qualifications. It was always because of ministry.
Interesting.
Went to South Africa for ministry also.
Yeah.
To do the music ministry there with the Odongos and House of Tefila. And to date, even for my younger bro, everywhere he's traveled out of this country is always because of ministry. Now, when 2012 came, I then got married to my campus sweetheart. Now, I say campus sweetheart, but we met in campus. We were not sweethearts then.
Okay.
Yeah, we just met there, and the moment I saw her, I had a witness in my heart. I just went and I told her how beautiful she is, and I took her number down. And I never spoke with her for a long time. For about For about 2 or 3 years.
Wow.
But as I walked away, having taken her number, she always says that she had in her heart that he'll make a good husband. And we never spoke again for a long time. One day when I was then, after campus, I graduated.
Yeah.
Then I went and started. My passion was then to help people with what I have. And then I asked myself, then what do I have?
Yeah.
The music, I can use it to communicate.
Yes.
And probably I can help people through that.
Yeah.
But what has God gifted me with my hands? And I felt that the Lord had gifted me with, I could think. I was smart. Just about a small backstory. In my father's grave, there's a cross, and on the epitaph, it's written, "Here lies a great mind." And so the thing that the Lord blessed our family with was that we are very good thinkers. My elder bro, myself, my younger bro, my mom's. So he gifted us with that ability to think and to understand.
Yeah.
And so when I got born again, I remember I had a neck ache. And when I went to church, and the pastor said, it was a Fleo 2006, and the pastor said, there's somebody in the crowd who has a neck ache. You can come forward and be prayed for.
Yeah.
And I was like, eh. Then I said, okay,
Yeah,
let me
what
just
a
go.
knowledge,
Yeah. So I went and he did for other people, and other people came and never laid hands on anybody. But when he prayed, the neck ache disappeared. And I was like, this thing is real. I said, Lord, now give me a mind that thinks. And I laid hands on my head. And I said, if I'm at that well, then let me take it all. And from that day, I became brilliant. I just became sharp. And so to bless the Lord with that gift and to bless my friends, my family, and my peoples, I said, then this is the gift I want to give the world. The thoughts that the Lord gives me, because his thoughts are higher than our thoughts. His ways are different. So I said, okay, let me go into consultancy. Let me work with small businesses. One day as I was praying in church, somebody came and said, hey, Brian, are you looking for a job? I said, yeah. I said, there's a lady who's looking for somebody to do some work. I said, sir, whatever my hands find to do, I will do. And I was invited to Bagadom, Kimati Street, for an interview. I went there with my CV, and it didn't have much, but yeah, it's papers. But the lady gave me the opportunity, and we started working together. And that lady is a very good entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And she started a company called Beauty Bee. It used to sell beauty products, but then she had gone to the States and had seen the breastfeeding pillow. And she came back and she decided to introduce it to the market.
I see.
And working with her is when I first learned what the business thing really is. I'd done some businesses in campus.
Yeah.
I already had a small studio. I was already selling music in campus, so I'd already done some, but now I was working with a believer. And we'd pray for products before we take them to the market. We'd pray for suppliers.
Come on, somebody.
we'd pray for opportunity.
Yeah.
And I remember I really struggled initially selling the product, but we started getting breakthrough. And I can tell you for a fact, in that 1 year, one day she was praying, and I was struggling with going to the market every day. I was visiting antenatal clinics, talking to pregnant moms, sensitizing them on the product, hawking the product on Biashara Street.
Yeah.
And I was like, with my finance degree, have I become a hawker? With my finance degree, what am I doing in the antenatal wards, sensitizing women about breastfeeding cushions and pillows?
Yeah.
And so I voiced my concerns, and I told her, hey, this thing, I'm becoming more and more uncomfortable. And then she took to prayer. And how she tells it is that the Lord showed her a dream and showed her a place where many pregnant women have gathered. And then she said, Brian, we have to do an exhibition. I said, okay. Then she contracted an agency to develop a brand, and that brand became Baby Banda. And Baby Banda, in the very first exhibition, we had in excess of 7,000 pregnant women attending. I've never seen so many, over a 3-day thing. I remember the guys at Sarit Center, there used to be a CEO there called Paul Moll or Paul Wall. And he'd asked her, "Where are you from?" And she said, "I'm from the woodwork. God has been molding me." And we came in with a bang. And to this day, Baby Banda is one of the leading pregnancy and baby brands, with the leading pregnancy and baby fair year on year consistently from the year 2008.
Amazing.
Yeah, and so working with her, I think God used that opportunity to show me that business can bring about transformation. Business can bring about helping people's lives.
Yeah.
So after a year, she released me. Then I went to work with Homeboys. Homeboys had just launched a water brand.
Yeah, H2O.
H2O.
Yeah.
And so I went to work with them.
Hey, it was cool to,
It was
you
cool.
know,
Yeah,
to have
it was
H2O,
cool.
man. Yeah.
Homeboys.
I don't want to mention any other brand.
Yeah, Homeboys. H2O.
If you had H2O, man, it was
H2O was good. Yeah. Back then. Yeah. So I was working for one of the disties.
Yeah.
It was a good opportunity also, working with a small business, working with a new brand and new products in the market.
Yeah.
And so I learned quite a bit from there. Then eventually I left them and I decided, let me help small businesses by setting up an advisory company. And so I felt that the Lord was calling me to that. I don't know whether He was calling me then or for later, but I jumped then.
All right.
So I went into it, and then I became flat broke. I remember I was so broke, I couldn't buy any more musical gear. So I started scavenging musical instruments, going to sites where people have thrown drum sets and things like those, broken guitars, and I started repairing that so then I could get some money or set up a band or do something. With the music thing. But as I was doing that, my lovely mom and her brother saw that I need to get to work. So they consulted each other, and I got an opportunity to work in a cyber cafe in town. It's called Bright Technologies.
Yeah.
Bright Technologies, some might remember, it used to have a cyber cafe, or be a cyber cafe on Kimati Street. And so I went into the cyber cafe, and I used to be the guy wiping the computers in the morning, mopping the floor, arranging the seats. I was that guy who was, can I open my email? The comp is hanging. You go and you help the person. And some elderly people would come. I'm doing a research. I'm doing my PhD. Can you help me? Can you help me do some research here? And so that's what we were doing there.
Did you enjoy that? Did you enjoy that, or was it a tough? or you were just doing?
For me, I think my philosophy is conspired. I was like, these people, they brought me here. I'd always refused. My cousin had worked there earlier before me, but he managed to travel and go to South Africa, and so the spot was open, and I think my uncle was probably on this relative mentorship program.
Probably you were on your way to South Africa.
Probably I was on my way to SA. So that was the juncture. But I always had this attitude that whatever your hands find to do,
do it
well.
And
so I said, okay, there's internet, there's a computer. I already know how to navigate. Let me be very good at it. So I started focusing on being good at research and online research and finding things online. So I became really good at it. And then it's around that time that the store decided, why don't we split the premises and have one side as a cyber cafe and have the other side selling flash discs and CDs and mobile accessories and stuff like that. And that's just a small case in how then I began learning optimization and business growth. And so then I saw, okay, he split this. Now the cyber is bringing 5 shillings per minute, but here he's selling a CD, he's selling thousands of them. It's bringing more money than the cyber would ever do. But I was never taken to that side where money was being made. I remained here in the dead side, the cyber side, until one day, one of the ladies selling airtime on the other side, I think she'd gone on a break. And because I was now the cashier on the cyber side,
Yeah.
I'd moved on up a bit.
Yeah.
I had to go and interview.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I went there, no sooner had I gone than
Yeah.
I saw this lovely lady, tall, dark, long hair, walk into the store. And I was like, hey, I know this mommy from somewhere. And she looked at me, I looked at her.
Yeah.
And then she said,
This is
are
this
you
is
are
the
you
one
so and
who
so's
can-
brother?
This is the one who can make a good husband.
Yeah, this is the one. Then she just said, are you so and so's brother? We went to campus together.
Yeah.
I said, hey, I just immediately, I said, what do you need? She said, airtime. I scratched it and gave it to her. This is on the house.
Don't even pay. Yeah.
That's the best 100. The best 100 I've ever spent, man. Now, years later, we have 3 children, a happy family. Thank
Yeah.
God, yeah.
Hey man, if you're out there and you're selling airtime, please
Please,
on the house.
on the house, man. It works, man. It works. The lady kept coming back. One
Yeah.
good deed deserves another. So she kept coming back. We
Yeah.
started going for walks, started walking at home. And as life would have it, around that time, I used to have, just as an interjection, an issue about mentors and mentorship relationships.
Yeah.
Before salvation, I never had any of those in my life.
Yeah.
And as I said earlier, I was always looking for this identity.
Yeah.
And then I would find it in the Word. But when I got born again, when I came back to the Lord in my post-teens years,
Yeah.
I was introduced by Mike, the guy I mentioned, to his pastor.
Yeah.
She's called Pastor Barbara, who then used to take us in for Bible study every Thursday.
I see.
And that's when I gave up rugby. Because now I was in a catch-22.
Yeah.
Rugby training was on Tuesday and Thursday, and Saturday you'd have the game. But now ICC has prayers on Tuesday, Thursday is Bible study,
Yeah.
and Saturday is training for worship team. So I got to the place where it's either rugby or grow in the
This
faith.
is the disciple moment, eh?
Yeah, so I
Yeah, you
said,
either
okay.
continue
Oh,
fishing
continue.
or
Yeah.
come follow me.
Or
eh?
come follow me. So I
Yeah.
chose, okay, let me follow. Because I came by my own. Nobody brought me here. I came,
Yeah.
so I said, Lord, I'm going to follow.
Yeah.
So Barbara really raised us in the faith. And because she was also raised by another lady,
Yeah.
evangelist Gladys Nguni, who talks even today. And they came around us as young people.
Yeah.
And they were much older, much more seasoned in life, but they really taught us the word. And because they were not church allied, we were never biased to a particular church or particular religion.
Yeah.
It was around how will you grow in your faith and in your work as a minister.
Yeah.
I think their focus was to build us up, not as Christians,
Not
but
as members of a particular.
not as members of a church,
Yeah.
not as Christians,
Yeah.
but as people who are going to go into ministry
I see.
at a particular time in their life.
Yeah.
And they really sharpened us. And by
Nice.
the time then, it really helped us with the service that we had at ICC.
Yeah.
It really helped when we then met Pastor Jack and Joyce, who also really worked with me and my bro and really sharpened us. And so that when I went into professional life,
Yeah.
I went into professional life as a minister. So I can say things such as deportment, how you carry yourself,
Yeah.
how you talk, how you deliver, how you behave. I learned that from ministers, not from mentors or professional mentors or,
Yeah.
or executive coaches.
Yeah.
I learned that from ministers. And so when I met this girl, I was like, hey, I don't want to walk around with girls in Nairobi.
Yeah.
So we can be friends. And she said, yes, we can. And so we started walking, we got married. She comes from a very good family, solid family who I've learned through thick and thin, through hell and high water.
Yeah.
They are there for me, even when my other family is scattered around the nation.
Yeah.
And so I love them lots.
Nice.
And I thank God for that encounter. Only God knows the family you're going into. You can know the girl you're meeting.
Yeah.
You don't know her background, nor do you know her family. But God, He who goes ahead of us, then went ahead of me in that way, and I am highly favored. And
Awesome.
I can say that
Amen.
for a fact. And you've met her, and you know
Yeah.
she's good, and she's
Shout
raised
out to you, Archie.
yeah, and she's raised the
Yeah.
children really well.
Yeah.
And we thank God
Awesome.
for that. Yeah. So when we then got married, I then had another what you call a disciple moment, this way or that way.
Uh-huh.
After we met at Bright, because I was handling a lot of the cash at Bright and a lot of the transactions,
Yeah.
I then found opportunities because I was banking every day. At that point, then I found opportunity with the banks. So I later went into KREP Bank.
Okay.
Yes, and when I got into KREP Bank, I went into the business side, not the operation side. So I was never a cashier, a teller.
Okay.
I never worked in the back office. I was purely business,
All right.
meeting with clients, underwriting and structuring deals.
Yeah.
But because of the favor I had had working with small businesses, I knew how small businesses work. And I got a really good team at the Kenyatta Avenue branch, and they really sharpened me in how to structure and underwrite deals. And I grew really fast.
Yeah.
And in 6 months, I was in head office. And
Wow.
in another 6 months, I was leading a team under one of the guys there.
Yeah.
There's a team called business support. So you see, with this ability to help others, the department I found myself really in at head office was the business support, where we supported all the branches, and anybody with any man of requests would dial up and we could call them. And then because of the experience I had with at the cyber cafe, where I really began becoming good at
Research.
and analysis, because as the shop started expanding, we eventually got rid of the cafe. Now I went into back office accounting, and first we did the QuickBooks thing, and after that it was now analyzing data, what they're calling retail analytics, seeing which product is working, by what margin, who's selling the most, which products need to be refreshed, how are we working with our supply chain. So I did a lot of that there. And became really good at Excel. Now when I moved to the bank and when I eventually got to head office, a new deputy MD came. And he needed somebody who knew how to crunch numbers. And I was seated right outside of his office, so he never needed to go far. He just came. Who knows how to really do this numbers thing and crunch the data thing? And everybody just pointed. And from then, I became then his guy for numbers because of the cyber. So I'm reminded about, do not despise days of humble beginnings, because it's working with the small businesses that I really grew to head office.
So the cyber and all these other things were preparation for the future, which you didn't know.
Which I had no idea. Which if I despised.
Incredible. So don't despise your humble beginning. Don't despise where you're at, man. Right now.
Where you're at is where you're at.
Where you're at, that's where you are. Be content and give it your best shot. Work hard, be faithful, be diligent. Give it all that you can now, because you don't know what's ahead.
Joseph says, where I am is the place of God. Is where God wanted me. So if I needed to be in the prison, God wanted me there. If I needed to be in this other place, that's where God wanted me. And so then, after now having gone through the cycle of working with small businesses, going into the bank and that helping my competencies there, then going into head office and this analysis and stuff and knowing how to structure and communicate, getting me to that level, I eventually left the bank. I remember I got married and I immediately resigned. I did not quit because I waited for my contract to end. In fact, I scheduled my wedding or my new life to when my contract expires, so that when I finish this phase, I'm not going back. Because I said if I sign the contract, I have to see it through to the end. I really wanted to resign many times, I must say. I always had a resignation letter in my drawer. Every Friday, I used to pack as though I'm not coming back. I used to stuff my bag with everything, that in case I go home and I'm done, I'm not coming back, my letter is in the drawer. But that thing about God is faithful to complete it. I said, if God is faithful to complete it, I'm faithful to complete. So I stayed there until the day the contract ended. When it ended, I left.
You left.
I said, I've done my bits, and we go.
It's time to go.
Now, the challenge came when I went home. And I told my wife I've resigned.
It doesn't make sense. You're just newly married. I mean, you're even supposed to keep your job and probably even get a better paying job.
Better paying job. Now you have a helper. Now you can rise. When I told her, honey, I'm home, then she said, oh yeah, karibu, do you need tea? I said, no. I said, I'm home. I'm not going back to work. I've resigned. Then she just turned and said, now build our legacy. And then she went and made tea. Jack, that's the day I knew I married right.
Wow.
That's the day. She didn't flinch.
I'm not married. I think I need to.
that's the day.
Yeah,
You know, you don't know.
but
You can be chased.
But I have found someone.
Yeah, you found someone.
We can
Yeah,
build a legacy.
you can build a legacy together.
Yeah, but keep going.
Yeah, most men will tell you, most married men rather,
Yeah.
and most married women will tell you that whatever I should have said would have either crushed me or destroyed me or built me up. I don't know whether she knew what she was saying, but she just said, now you're free to build. I guess because she always thought I was a builder or something to do. And Jack, that's when I then said,
wow,
what do I have in my hands? Because I said, I don't have I want to help, but I don't have money. And I said, silver and gold, I don't have.
Yeah.
But I have an ability to help people with my thoughts, with understanding the thoughts of God and what God has put in His Word and putting that. I didn't want to go into ministry of church by way of becoming a church pastor or a church preacher.
Yeah.
So I said, God needs some people, some of us out here. Nowadays they call it marketplace ministry. Then I just thought, I don't want to go to the pulpit. I want to be here because here's where I see need. Here's where I see people struggling, where I see families' hopes being crushed, where I see people can't create opportunities. So let me go here.